Excuse me. I'm sorry, but I had my hand on this card first.
Don't give me that. My hands were ultra quick to grab it.
Unless my ears were deceiving me, I seem to recall you saying you weren't interested in knowledge and skill types.
For someone who had an ultra bad time with a card and was acting above it all, you sure are changing your tune all of a sudden, huh? How strange.
Get your mitts off this card already, you dirty little runt!
Keep dreaming, you ultra hypocritical washboard witch!
Hello everybody, MakersRx here, back at it again to give you another very exciting video. And for today, yes, I'm going to be reviewing another episode review for Railgun T episode 18 called Bust Upper. And if you haven't already done so, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner and check out that episode 17 review if you happen to somehow miss it or whatever though. And then come back over and bounce over and watch this one though. But man, I gotta say with this one, okay, in terms of a comedic sense, I hadn't laughed this much since episode 16 when we had that whole episode that sort of kind of, you know, we had like a lot of interactions with Junko, with Shoko and Misaka though, but now we get Misaka back from episode 17 where she wasn't there, you know, present, but now she's back, and goodness, she definitely brought the comedy with her this episode again because we know Misaka is very sensitive about her body, and you know every time she sees another girl that has a decent rack or whatever though, oh goodness, you know you're gonna be in for some laughs though, and gosh, you know what, the review is really gonna speak for itself in terms of the things I really like about the comedic sense about this though. And then got to see some reappearance from Item, which we knew was coming based upon the opening itself though, but quite a bit of stuff to say about this episode as a whole though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into this episode review of A Certain Scientific Railgun T. With this episode, the series dives deeper in the nature of Indian poker, and it does so by taking a somewhat preserved approach to it, making the impetus for the activity being self-conscious about bust sizes. Yes, bust sizes, which, you know, thinking about it, hindsight 2020, looking at the episode title from last week's episode into this one, I was like, oh my gosh, I just knew that there was going to be some funny comedic moments coming with this. And hence, instead of the level upper, we now have the bust upper, or the belief that it may exist anyway. And that brings together an unlikely pairing of two like-minded girls. To think that the series would take an angle like this is hardly surprising. Misaka has been self-conscious about being modestly endowed since the early days of the franchise, and the sniping over how developed each other has been particularly sharp between Misaka and Shokuho in this season. The fact that Misaka would jump at any lead about improving herself in that way is a given. The surprise here is who her rival turned partner in the endeavor ends up being, Kinuara, the powerhouse of Item. The new opener made it clear that they would be showing up at some point in some capacity, but I did not expect this angle at all, since in previous appearances, Kinuara has shown no concern about such things. Granted, the other three members of Item are considerably bustier than she is, and even petite Brenda, but she took to interpreting Hamazura's comment about drinking milk for her growth the wrong way remarkably quickly. Thus, the stage is set for a meeting of the minds. Their efforts to discover the bust upper, combined with what is shown about Satan at the beginning and the end of the episode, reveal a lot more about these Indian poker cards. They are potent enough that someone can learn a new skill from using them. Satan may be a joke for using this to develop some thoroughly useless party tricks, but the possibilities here are both wondrous and scary. So what happens if this gets applied to more violent and/or nefarious skills? This sequence also reveals that there are vendors out there for Indian poker cards as well. Just as importantly, the girl with the striped black and white hair shown in the opener appears in one of the dreams, vaguely suggesting that there's more than this than what Misaka has seen so far. So an entity who communicates only through dream, perhaps? The other dreams she and Kinuara have provided a nice variety of entertainment as well, and reference characters from various points of the franchise, including some that may have not even appeared in the animation yet. And despite all of the different scenarios that happen in Misaka's and Kinuara's dreams, they all somehow wind up being breast related, which is either a running joke or a suggestion that one experiencing the Indian poker card can influence the dream. And by the time we got to the end of the episode, did y'all notice that girl with the big breast spotted by Satan in the last episode? That was the girl who got the card dropped by the crow in the earlier scene. So it seems that the bust upper wasn't just a myth. So that basically pretty much summarizes everything I wanted to say about my review for this week's episode. But there's one last little comment I wanted to say about that earlier scene within this episode. So for that early shower scene featuring Item, definitely ups the fan service quotient for the episode, and the animation scene a little bit sharper than normal than some of the previous ones that we might have recently got. But in all, it is a very fun episode that nonetheless has significant plot implications. And that's pretty much all I have to say within this week's episode review though. So honestly, you know what, I really like this comedic effect. And honestly, personally, you know what, I really like this episode probably a bit more so than the last week's episode that sort of kind of focused more so on Kuroko. I don't know, it just might have been the fact that we got to see some new Item members come into play though, and then also looking at the preview for the next episode, it seems like we're gonna get to see Frenda a little bit more so within the next episode, so I'm really looking forward to that as well though. But honestly, I just really like that comedy that kind of, you know, spun off between Misaka as well as Kinuara though. So anytime, you know, Misaka's always kind of worried about her body figure or something like that, I just found some of those moments and the way how she just reacts and the way how her voice actor just puts everything to life, I just find those moments extremely funny though. So keep up the good work, Funimation, as well as, you know, the studios are, you know, animating this whole entire series together though. So you know what, you know, hats off to y'all, and hopefully, you know, the way how things are kind of panning out, you know, it seems like between the last two episodes there's like been some key takeaways for what's going to be more important things for what would be this Dream Ranker arc as we get a little bit further and a little bit closer to the end though. Not that many more episodes to go though, but we're getting close to that final home stretch though. But I'm really looking forward to see how the rest of this arc plays out though. But that about does it for this week's review though. So if you really like this review, go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things a certain scientific Railgun tea that is happening this season though. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.
We went through every single one and the bust upper was nowhere to be found.
That traitor. The next time I see him, I'll ultra kill him.
I should have trusted my gut from the get-go. A card like that is way too specific to really exist.
It's nothing but an urban legend. And a baseless one, too.
And the researcher mysteriously vanished? Not suspicious at all.
Even for a made-up story, the guy clearly didn't put much effort into it.